Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie and this week we are doing my Gilmore Girls Readathon TBR. This readathon is hosted by Darling Desi, Life with Liv, Bookables, and Mackenzie Lane and runs from November 15th through the 22nd. I'll have like the host and the Instagram account for the Gilmoreathon posted in the description box for anyone who's interested. This will be my third readathon I participated in this year, but it will also be the first one where I actually try to vlog it as I go and just kind of see what happens there. There's 6 prompts for books, and there was also a prompt to make a cozy treat and watch an episode of the show, which I might try to do too. But anyways, I'm going to tell you the books that I plan on reading during the readathon. Before I do that though, I will say real quick that I tried to be more strategic when planning my books this time. I didn't want to overlap any prompts. I still wanted to have one book per prompt, but I wanted to try to make sure that I didn't pick all just massive books or that I didn't pick all physical books or all ebooks. So I think my books are like half audiobooks and then the other half are ebooks and one physical copy, just to kind of have a variety of genres and then, or not genres, but like a variety of formats. And I can listen to, the e-book or audiobooks while I walk or clean and stuff like that. And that should hopefully make it a little bit more doable. For Read a Book Set in a Small Town, I will be reading Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn. This book it says within the first lines that it's set in a small town. The main character has to return to her small hometown and kind of try to solve the mysteries of, I think, either a murdered child or a child that's disappeared. I don't remember which. But she has to go back to her small town and try to figure out what's going on. And then I think she has a half sister, and I think the summary said the half sister had an eerie hold on the town, so I think that'll be interesting. And I'll be reading Sharp Objects as an audiobook on Libby. For Read a Book that features a mother-daughter relationship, I'll be reading The Nanny by Jilly McMillan, also as an audiobook on Libby. And this book follows the main character who, whenever she was a child, she had this nanny that she really loved and adored, I guess. And then one day the nanny disappears, and that kind of strained her relationship with her parents for the rest of her childhood. And then as an adult, she comes back to her home, to her childhood home, and she kind of has to, I guess, confront her mother. And it seems like based off the summary that her mother may not have been exactly who she said she was. Or that's the vibe I got, at least. For Read a Book set in fall/winter, I'm reading An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson, and I'll be reading the ebook on Scribd. And for one, I had a lot of trouble finding a book that took place in fall/winter, so this one just looked kind of like fall. It looked a little bit fallish to me. And then whenever I read the summary, I believe I saw somewhere that said fall courts. So it might actually take place in fall. But this book follows a girl who, she is a really good artist, and fairies aren't able to create in the same way humans are, and their creations don't last. So one day the prince or king or something of the fall court, I guess, has her paint a picture of him in exchange for an enchantment, and she messes up by painting a human emotion in his eyes, and that kind of sets off a lot of issues. But they also end up, and I think, falling in love together. So I'm excited to read that book. For Read a Book with a Complicated Love Interest, I'll be reading Unwritten by Alex Rosa on Kindle. I've seen Alex Rosa's book on Instagram a lot ever since September. I follow Alex, and I've been interested in her book since it came out, and I finally got around to buying it the other day. And I almost started it, and then I got a few pages in, and I was like, I might be able to use this for the readathon. This book follows a girl named Haley and a guy named Caden. And Haley's been out of her hometown for several years. And she's come back because her mother's died and she has to kind of, I guess, settle her estate. And also she needs to work on the sequel to her best-selling romance novel that heavily featured hers and Caden's relationship, or is heavily inspired by it. And so because her and Caden were originally together and then they split up whenever she left, and now it's complicated, I guess. So I'm excited to see how that goes. So for Read a Book by an Asian author or that has Asian representation, I will be reading Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This book I'll be listening to on Libby is an audiobook, and it follows a Chinese American family in the 70s, I think. I think they may have immigrated in to the US like fairly recently in that time period. And then I think their daughter was murdered or died or disappeared. I don't remember which. But I'm really interested to read this book. I really enjoyed Little Fires Everywhere whenever I read that one over the summer, or maybe in the spring. So I'm excited to read more books by Celestine. And then lastly, for read the next book in a series you haven't finished, I'll be reading Undercover Bromance by Lisa K. Adams. This is the only physical book I'm reading, and this follows Mac and Liv from the first book. In the first book, they were kind of side characters. They were important, but not the most important, and it kind of, I guess, will follow their relationship as it builds. Liv, I think in the summary it says that she recently lost her job and she's trying to find a new one, and Mac, I think he just owns a bunch of nightclubs or something like that, and he offers her a job. And he kind of just assumes that since he reads a bunch of romance books, he knows how romance works. So I'm excited to read this one. This one or An Enchantment of Ravens will be the first book I read. I know I got through the first book in like 1.5 sittings. So I feel like I could read this one pretty quickly, especially if it's as good as the first one. But then An Enchantment of Ravens sounds really good, and I'm kind of in the mood for a fantasy. So I don't know, we'll kind of see how it goes from there. Anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully next week I will have the vlog of this up, and I will let you know how this goes while I'm doing it. If you kind of want to keep up with like what I'm reading as I'm reading it, check out my Instagram. I don't really post on Twitter, but it's there too if you're interested. And I also have a book review blog where I will have a new post going up on Thursday. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.